What is going on? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Tuesday, December the 10th, fresh off Monday Night Raw. We're going to break that down today. Also, if you have a friend that's trying to watch over on Instagram, they just kind of messed up on me. I'm going to get that solved here very shortly, but I will introduce the rest of my panel to you. First and foremost, get your twos all the way up because all the way from the DMV on a Tuesday, it's the Tuesday Night Delight during the day. Shoddy, what's going on?
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Shad Talks Graps, and I am back in the building. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. We are reviewing Monday Night Raw. I don't got a host today. I get to kind of get a play-by-play, so I'm a little excited about it. It was a interesting episode, so I'm ready to dabble into that. And yeah, man, shameless plug. If you ain't got nothing to do tonight, right after NXT, me, Clark, Drizzy, NXT off the air, we in here, man.
No doubt about it. Off the air is going to be nothing short of electric. We promise you that much. But so is this show. We're having a party today. I'm stoked about it. It's not the usual Tuesday crew. It's not an RC Tuesday either because Chaos is not here. But guess who is here? That guy that you go to, he's like an ATM. Jordy in the bank is in the building. What's going on?
Yo, how's everyone going? I'm good. I agree, Shad. It was an interesting episode of Raw. And Clark, firstly, it's nice to have you here on a Tuesday as well. Yeah, it's few and far between, but we do get you every now and again. I don't know what's going on with my camera right now. I feel like it's very bright, but we'll sort that out as we go.
I was about to write in the private chat. It looked like you in heaven right now, bro.
I know what's going on, man. I am glowing right now. But yeah, listen, maybe it was the contrast of last week's Raw, but this one fell a little bit flat for me in comparison. But there was still some great talking points, some great takeaways, and still some great debates that we can have here. So it's not impacted our show, guys. I can assure you that. Don't worry.
100%. And honestly, with the camera issues and all, I have to thank you personally for carrying me for that minute because I got us live on Instagram. So we are so back. We're ready to start. We're ready to start the show.
IG, all our friends on IG.
We got it. We got some comments out of the gates. We got hello from number one Superfly, good friend of the show, and then DCX Warlord with Carrion got the pin. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Carrion got the pin. Absolutely. Let's get right into our first topic, though. Let's talk about Chicago-made Punk and Seth Rollins. Remember, Punk wasn't thinking about Rollins. That was what he said last week, right? 1 week ago yesterday. He said that out loud. He's like, I don't even think about you anymore. You don't have anything I want. Pretty clever of him. Well, I think he might be thinking about him now. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but I think he's thinking about him. If I had to say myself, Shad, I'm going to ask you about it. Punk and Rollins gets a little personal, multiple personal feuds for Punk in a row, but I dig it.
Man, when you let CM Punk get in his bag, you instantly just snap back into why you are a fan of him as a professional wrestler. And obviously, I'm talking solely on aspects of storylines and what he does and the way he's able to blur reality into kayfabe. And man, the little sit-down interview with him and Jackie Redmond where he was, speaking about everything Seth Rollins, having the most diabolical quote saying the starter is back in here and the backup can go back on the bench. My, how is that? How disrespectful. He, as a Chicago Bears fan, he basically told Seth Rollins, hey, you are Justin Fields. You held it down the first few weeks, but Papa Russ is here. But all jokes aside, I thought it was really good, and I really liked Seth's promo outside of the ring, talking about why he has a gripe with CM Punk, how he, looked up to CM Punk, how him and CM Punk had a close relationship. But after Punk left the WWE years ago, Punk got distant from everyone. Punk didn't want to get a lending hand from anyone, speak to anybody. And that's what I like a lot is the fact that we can go back to reality, real life situations that they may have had amongst each other, which I'm going to give them a benefit of the doubt. It sounds like it could be a real experience and blending it in the storyline. And these are two of the best guys, man. These are two guys who don't shy away from that, especially Seth Rollins. Seth is someone that we've been, enamored about with the whole storyline going in the Survivor Series with the Bloodline, right? And Roman Reigns. All of that. Seth knows how to sell you a ticket for a matchup. He is the guy who sold us a ticket to what we are getting now a year ago. If he is not acting the way he's acting about CM Punk post War Games match, none of this is happening. That type of situation, the stuff that you do, even outside of when the cameras are rolling and people catching it on television, on their cell phone, and what you say online and what you say on interviews. His interview talking about CM Punk before CM Punk even signed, calling him the C word, right? A cancer. Like stuff like that makes you go, oh yeah, this could get dicey, but this could be entertaining. And it's something that I'm very intrigued and very interested about. This, I loved everything with the Punk and Drew storyline, right? That was good. They created a great storyline, but this is what I've been waiting for. This is the one. This is the matchup, the feud that I've been waiting for since CM Punk returned. It's him and Seth. So I think the personals, all of that is good. This is something that WWE could really, if booked how I know they can and they book it well, man, this could be a WrestleMania main event. Like
Easily.
No,
and I love what you said there. I love that you brought up the line about the starters back, because to me, that just basically was like Punk saying, listen, why would they need you when they have me now again?
Have me.
Yeah, you're great. But he basically was like, you've been cosplaying me.
And bro, you hear it in the crowd too, because I think the other beautiful aspect of it is that it's a split on who the fans want to win. Yeah. And it may be a 60-40 edge in Punk just because you get the CM Punk chance.
100%. We got one comment I definitely want to read here from Sean Ellis, friend of the show. But Sean, I gotta say, you don't want to bring up real fights around CM Punk. Ask Mickey Gall about that. I'm just saying. Ask Mickey Gall about the real fights with CM Punk.
Oh God, Punk don't win a lot of those. That's why
what was that like guys. A minute?
Ask Jack Perry though.
He lost to a journalist in an MMA fight, and Dana White fired the journalist.
Okay, you know what? For a brief second about the Jack Perry stuff, and I don't think I've ever talked about it. But even if he did beat him in a fight, it's Jack Perry. No disrespect to him. He's a smaller dude. He's a guy who doesn't come off as confrontational like that, right? Mm-hmm. So that don't make him the big bad wolf or some tough dude. Like, try doing that to a big dog, right? It may not be the same thing.
Well, I mean, the one that makes me laugh is like, so his UFC career, the guy he shows up in the UFC and he's great on the microphone and he's great for promotion, and they're going to call him CM Punk even better. And he's training with Duke Rufus. He's driving to Milwaukee every day to train in this big, unbelievably star-studded camp. And they did an entire reality show, Dana White's, looking for a fight to find his first opponent on the most podunk independent scene you've ever seen. They find this kid, Mickey Gall. And then Mickey Gall shows up and in a minute and a half takes his back and chokes him out. Mm-hmm. Like he'd never trained a day in his life. And Mickey Gall is not that good. And no disrespect, but Mickey Gall it's not like he springboarded into stardom off of a Punk victory.
He got destroyed by a jobber in the UFC.
Mickey's a jobber. Yeah, it's brutal.
Like, but and that's the one thing I always found funny is like, even like when we talk about athletes or like basketball players, right? The worst basketball player on an NBA team is significantly better than the best guy who balls at an LA Fitness gym.
At the YMCA. Yeah, exactly. No, that is the best. It's 100% spot on. Jordy, obviously, I got to get your thoughts on this subject as well, though. We got Punk and Rollins. That looks like the future. Where do you see this being paid off? Do you see it as a multi-match series? How do you see this rivalry going from here, I guess, because we kind of broke down, what happened last night and whatnot.
Where do I see it going? I mean, I'm pretty sure it was nailed on for Mania last year had it not been for Punk's injury. So I do see it being at Mania. The one thing that does interest me about this, and I'll go on to this a bit because Shad, you covered what was said on the show perfectly. CM Punk has been so clear that the one thing that he wants, I mean, he even pointed to an invisible sign, for Christ's sake. He wants the Mania main event. I don't know how him versus Seth becomes the main event at WrestleMania, unless one of them's a champion and one of them wins the Rumble. Or a chamber or something. I think one of them is going to have to be champion, really. Like, there's so many belts within WWE now. There's now, I mean, was it last year? So, yeah, last year. But, I mean, we're only going back 2 years. And, I mean, both heavyweights were unified. Now there's 2 heavyweights on both women's and men's. There's now mid-card women's titles coming in. So how do we navigate ourselves to make CM Punk versus Seth Rollins the number one attraction, the fight that people most want to see? So that's, you're gonna have to overtake a Roman Reigns spot, who has held down that main event of Mania spot for the last 5 years, I think now. I just don't know how we get there. I don't know. I'd see the match being 100%, like, it'll be incredible whenever, wherever, and I want Punk going on, whether it'll be a multi-match series. I kind of want Punk to do trilogies all the time. Like, I'd loved what it was with Drew. The only thing there, I guess, is you can't do trilogies all the time because then it becomes predictable. You know, one's going to win the first one, someone's going to win the second one, and then you're going to have the rubber match. But
I agree, but to your point, Jordy, and I didn't mean to cut you off there because I'm going to toss it right back to you, but seriously, I think there's something about Punk that the long-form storytelling, the multi-match storytelling is always almost better for him, and I think it's kind of unique to him because it'd be predictable with other people, but him in short-term feuds doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense because he gets so under your skin on the mic.
I think what just going back to the show as well, what's interesting and what we can take from this, and I know some people have been chattering online about this, is that all of a sudden we find ourselves with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins kind of saying the same thing. Like, they were big rivals, but you have to think back to how their feud ended, and Seth obviously dropped the title at Mania to Drew. For me, there was a sign of respect there. I feel like Drew has even spoke quite highly of Seth in interviews after it and said, look, like, when you go through it that much with someone, like, you do gain a level of respect for them. And now they're both angry at the same people for joining back up with Roman. They both hate Punk. That goes without saying. So it just seems like all of a sudden, Seth and Drew, a year on pretty much, well, not even a year on, 8 months on, have gone from being at each other's throats to they're singing off the same hymn sheet here. They have the same cause of why they're doing what they're doing right now. And it's that they feel betrayed, but the people that have betrayed don't feel like they're betrayed. So it's, and that's again back to what you said, Shad. It's going to divide fans in the best possible way, this, because you are going to have some people who, no matter what, are loyal to WWE. And when it comes to Seth Rollins, who is going on that kind of almost Randy Orton, like, I don't see him ever wrestling anywhere else, right? Seth Rollins at this point, almost like a Mr. WWE. Like, he is a company man. He's going to stay there probably forever. And represented the company in a fantastic, in a time when maybe the product wasn't at its best, but he was there. And then, yeah, you've got the people who are just so happy that Punk's back. It is almost like that Cena versus Rock dynamic where you've got the people who's like, well, no, hang on, where have you been? I'm not just going to jump back on your team now all of a sudden just because you're back, but you will have some people that do that. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. That's one thing.
I agree. And I agree with you on the split crowd not being a problem with these two, because the sections that are rooting for each will be, this is where I think this is an interesting point, and I want to get both of you guys' thoughts on this, because I've thought about this for a long time. We talk often about, like, ooh, the split crowd's always risky, right? Like, you get like a Rock Cena, like you mentioned, you get something like that, where even a Rock Austin back in the day, Rock Hogan, at a lot of rocks in that one, but either way, I'm just saying, it's funky to me. I think the defining factor, the one that matters the most, if you're going to book a match where the crowd is split, is that the sections are so behind their guy, their wrestler, their performer in the rivalry that they're both so vocal. It doesn't seem like the entire arena is quieter than a match that's entirely behind one side.
Yeah,
And
because
this
I
is
think
one of those.
Yeah, I think at the root of it, and it's like you said. So you listed off some of the greatest like stare downs I can think of in terms of like looking at each other and looking around and being like, this noise is unbelievable. And it's because at the end of the day, we want to see the match. I will probably, it does depend on how the promos go, because at the moment I'm in that perfect position where every time CM Punk talks, I think, oh, he's got a good point. And then I hear Seth talk and I think, I'm back with Seth now, actually. And it's like,
it's easy to flip back and forth.
Good. Yeah, it's so
also
good.
I think we're so far removed from I won't say so far removed, but I think we are in a time frame in modern day professional wrestling, more so with the big companies, where it's like positionless basketball. There isn't as defined heels and baby faces anymore. There's a lot of a lot of gray area, neutral. You let the fans kind of decide who they want to go for. And, you put the most talented people in position. You give us the best matchups, so on and so forth. And I think that's the best thing.
To your point, not to get all existential, but I also think it's just like a sign of the.
You go, Clark.
Go right ahead. If you want to go first.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, not to get all existential, but I love what you just said there, Shad, about like positionless basketball. Even it's a sign of the times, right? Like I think about in entertainment, in movies, right? Like Ocean's 11 is great. It's not even that recent, right? Of course, it's Clooney and everything. They're criminals and they're the good guys.
Yep.
Right. That from a storytelling perspective, there's avenues you can take that blur the lines in a way. And I don't think there's a problem with that, because we've seen a lot of Rocky stories, as I like to call them.
Yeah.
One good guy, one bad guy. We need to see the good guy overcome the bad guy. And it's so difficult. And then he finally does, or she finally does, whatever it is. Right. That's not reality. And also in today's day and age, we've seen that play out so many times.
Yeah.
Having nuance like this, where, you know what? I can see his side and I can see his side. It provides more entertainment. But go ahead, Jordy. What were you going to say again?
I'll just say this, then we can move on, because we've overrun this topic. But this is what CM Punk does.
That's what we do.
So I think what makes everything so interesting about the CM Punk angle is that the guy he had a problem with is now the bad guy. Like, he had a problem with Vince. So like he left, and now it's like people could look at it and go, well, actually, you know what? Like, Vince was the bad guy. Punk wasn't the bad guy in this. So it's like, even what people held Punk responsible for so long, now that Vince is the criminal, it's like everyone can go, actually,
Punk, the guy he had a problem with is his boss too.
Yeah, exactly. So now Punk can come back, and like he did with Drew, when Drew said, I'm the chosen one, and he said, who chose you? And it's like, he can do that. It's like, that's the guy I had a problem with, and that's why I left. So am I the bad guy for that? And I think that's why he's getting cheers as well, because it's like Punk was kind of the first one to say, screw you, Vince, I'm out of here.
He was kind of right.
Yeah, exactly. So
it was like, hindsight's usually 2020. That one's pretty clear. Like, maybe he did have a point. Like, no, I'm with you 100%. Okay, let's move on to one that I'm going to introduce this topic, and then I'm going to go to Shad about it. But this one just bothers me. This just bothers me. So the Final Testament, whatever, which I guess is that the third testament of the Bible? I don't know how that works. Is that what the name came from? It sounds real religious to me. Either way, for some odd reason, they beat the Wyatts yesterday. And if we're going to do this Wyatt 6 thing, they should not be losing. Like, stop this. It sucks the wind out of it. Why did we just do this? What are we doing here? Like, I can't fathom it. These teams and factions are supposed to look super strong, so we pair them against each other to see which one's better, and maybe they can 50-50 it, and it'll be 1-1, and then they can have a big stop it. Knock this off. They should be dominant, attacking teams, mysterious. There is no mystery when you just put the two scary teams against each other. The mystery is gone. It's not right. Maybe because it's not October and it's not Halloween season, they forgot how to book horror movies because they aren't on every network, which thank goodness, by the way, I'm not a fan of those. I prefer the Christmas movies right now. I just watched Home Alone and Christmas Vacation, but that's neither here nor there. My point is, it bugs me. If we're going to do the Wyatt 6, they should be so scary no one beats them. And that has not been the case. Shad, explain.
I think the right choice was made yesterday, actually, on the contrary to what you had to say.
No.
I think that I don't think the Final Testament are a level of a spooky team. I think they're more of a kind of a different type of lore, a bit of a, forward thinking in a sense. I'm starting to appreciate Karrion Kross as a professional wrestler. I think he does a lot of great things, and I think I'm gonna be completely real with you for a second, and this may ruffle a lot of feathers. If we're talking about an aspect of what they talk on the screen, promo work, all of that, I think Karrion Kross has done a significantly better job with the promo work than the stuff I've been getting from the Wyatts as of late. Not from the inception of it. I think the Wyatts initially were amazing. I think the presentation's been good. But like you said, even past the loss, I'm not even worried about the loss right now. What are we doing with the direction for the Wyatt 6? They do literally the same thing every week on television. If it's not one of these promo vignettes where Uncle Howdy is cutting very Bray Wyatt-esque lines and giving us a lot of callbacks, nothing is being accomplished in the ring or when they enter the ring. There's no direction for any of the members. Nikki Cross literally does the same thing every week. She pops up and she scares people or she jumps on the female competitor. Why isn't this dominant, scary character in the women's division? Like, there's just a lot of we're still on the honeymoon phase of us getting this and seeing the vision of it and all that. And I love it. I think all of that is great. But let's kick it into gear. This was my fear about them, bro. This was literally my fear about them. I thought, it looks good, but how are we going to progress it? How are we going to make them different than what was created also, right? I haven't gotten a lot with a lot of the characters, and I love everybody in it. I love Joe Gacy. That was our guy in NXT.
Stud.
I love Nikki Cross, but there isn't a direction for them. So in that case, at the moment, I'm not mad that they lost yesterday just because I see Karrion Kross doing a little bit more on the promo work and is in the ring. And I think he's showing me that, I'm not a big fan of the group. I don't think AOP does a lot for me as a tag team. Paul Ellering, I respect him in his career as a manager, but being a manager for a guy who has another manager who is his wife, also he's a great talker, so he doesn't really need a manager. It's kind of pointless. And also,
managers.
Why was he Ashy Larry yesterday and hitting up the?
Don't get that. Don't get that at all. I also dude, people should be freaking terrified of the Wyatts. Like, that's the point.
They should, and they have been. But like you said, I think the point you made was right in regards to the matchups, because it's the same thing with American Made. They went up against a faction that shouldn't have lost as well.
It's stupid. It bothers me to death. It really, really does. I mean, even Sean Ellis right here is like, it's a waste of TV time. Seems like they're weak, so why even go there? And then he said, why is WWE making factions like the Wyatt 6 if they're just going to bury him? And yeah, that's exactly my thought. And see, Sean, I don't think they're too cartoonish if they're presented in a way that they're a horror gimmick. I'm cool with that, right? Like, all of a sudden the lights shut out, they take somebody out. Why did they do this? Everybody's confused. You can tell.
People got to understand, though. The people got to understand the Wyatt
solution
like
to make them legit.
Bray Wyatt is like a genius. So his mindset with a lot of the stuff that he did is over your head, like incredible detailed writing aspects of it.
I agree.
I don't know if like they're just trying to, like, to me, it still just comes off of paying homage to a late great person, right? And I love that we're being able to do that. But yeah, this is always my fear, is just like, how are we going to progress them? These guys and girl on the faction, they need to define themselves. This is sink or swim. If this thing eventually sinks, I don't really know how any of the people in the faction will recover.
I think it's a very simple solution. And you need to make this a predator group where they do not wrestle often, but they show up at inopportune times. You're backstage, you're just walking, easy segments to film, and then, oh no, there's another member of the Wyatt Six right on you, right? Like, and you're not even completely sure what they're going to do until they explain it. And it's always pretty horrendous.
And Sean Ellis, absolutely,
you can solve this quickly.
Don't say that. Also,
no.
Gross.
That's too mean, Sean. Sean, you're a great friend of the show, but no. Too mean. We're not doing that. Okay, wait. Let's talk about things though that we should be doing really quickly. AKA pay some bills. Let's talk about Progress Wrestling. If you haven't checked out Progress yet, and I'm going to put myself full screen, you need to do so because the product is outstanding. Every chapter gets better and better, and Demand Progress Plus is one of the absolute best tape libraries on the entire internet. You can see some of your all-time faves in where they really cut their teeth. You can see some of your current faves. This is excellent, and not only that, you're going to love this. I'm going to give you a discount. Use the code WATCHPROGRESS1 to get 50% off your first month on Demand Progress Plus, the home of Progress, Defy, and many more promotions. Check it out. You're going to dig it. I assure you. One more time on that code. That's use WATCHPROGRESS1. It's 50% half off of your first month for those that prefer fractions like myself. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As always, let's keep it absolutely rolling here. Let me get the correct graphic up because it's Jordy time. Let's talk about the New Day. And in the words of George W. Bush, they got nuclear heat last night. Thank you. I'm glad that got shot. He's on mute, but he laughed at that, and that's all that mattered to me. I had that one in the tank all day. I've been waiting on it. Either way, I'm stoked about it. New Day's bad. And that's the first time since they were supposed to be bad at the beginning. And then that didn't really work. Well, it's working with the amount of heat. Jordy, talk to me about this. Did you have this on your bingo card for 2024?
I had Woods doing it. I didn't think Kofi would be stood by his side when this was happening. I have to admit that very much kind of has caught me off guard a little bit. But I've got an issue with these two lads now. Like, listen, you want to, after what they said to Big E last week, I think we all had a little bit of an issue there, you know, but like, it was between almost family, you know, they're brothers. Things happen between family. I'm not involved. Let's not by the by. However, when you're pushing Stu, the cameraman, like you're bullying people, like they're just walking around thinking like, because I mean, I get it. If I was Woods and I hadn't won a match since about 6 months ago, I'd probably try and pick a fight with a cameraman as well. But like, you can't do that. That's not a good look. And I genuinely think that this is what started that. Well, not started it because obviously last week, but doing little things like that, that's going to get you booed. That is going to get you booed. And I'm so happy that they didn't let him speak. Genuinely so happy. Because last week they called out Big E's girlfriend out of nowhere, and now they're going for Stu the cameraman. Like, I want somebody to go and teach these two a lesson because I think they need it. They're acting like big babies, the pair of them.
Jordy, you brought up maybe the most important point of the day, though, and that is how do we get a Stu the cameraman t-shirt made because of this?
I'll make one.
Stu for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm here for Stu. I don't know. There's a lot. Shad, you're our resident rhyme guy. What is our Stu the cameraman t-shirt? This is bogus. Why are you attacking Stu?
Yeah, like, you
what can Stu do for you?
Like, we know I'm a Cena guy. But like, you don't even need to be a Cena guy. It's a matter of like, why are you picking on Stu? Like, that is just a bully tactic.
It's not nice.
It's the sign of two weak men who know nothing better, two big babies, and I'm ashamed to say that about two.
I highly disagree with everything that you just said, bro.
No.
Well, you stand by pushing elderly men.
Yeah.
Why?
He was.
Because
He
you-
was.
because you
It's
can't win
lights,
a match.
camera. They made a reaction.
When
There you
Pedro
go.
Win a match.
Martinez knocked down Don Zimmer, were
What
you
has Stu
still
ever done? What
the
is
04
Stu?
ALCS?
Stu was in the way.
He was
Stu
not in the
was
way.
in the
They
way.
gave it. He was doing
They
his
were.
job.
Everybody in that
He-
locker room was hating on the New
Stu's
Day
got
for
a
no
job
He
to
reason.
do.
he was holding the camera, and they did his job. They went, "Give us it here." Like
Justice
that's
for
not.
Stu.
That's
Whatever. Stu ain't do nothing good last night.
Big E
Hey,
needs to come back for
but he
Stu.
turns
Or
up,
you know
doesn't
who
he?
maybe does?
John.
Mr. Positive himself.
Nah,
Juan
John Cena's gonna come.
Chaina.
And he's gonna
Stu
say,
is
"Hey,
probably Stu
Brings his
owns
sweatbands
Rich.
back.
What if
Cena and
Stu?
Stu versus the New Day."
Yes.
Stu would probably team up with Rich Holland, bro.
Dude, Cena, Stu,
come
and
on now.
Nicholas versus
I'm
the
my
New
bad,
Day.
sorry.
3-on-2 handicap.
Nicholas.
Rich has no partners.
I didn't care about Stu part. I thought the Heat was dope though.
Oh yeah,
I had
I'm
empathy
joking.
for
I'm joking.
Stu.
It felt like Wade and Shaq in 06.
Yeah, no, I am joking. I thought it was brilliant. Like,
Honestly, big
I'll
three. It had
break
big three
kayfabe for a
vibes.
second.
It had big
What
three
what
vibes. The
intrigues
big two
me?
actually.
Are the
Whoa, give Bosch some cred.
are the audience going to have
No,
time to
Big
boo
E's not
this
there
heavily
though.
for two people?
I know.
Do you see what I mean? Is it
Yeah.
like is Dom going to continue to get these like are we going to have two groups of people that now get that level of
Maybe
boo?
Dom.
They get
Maybe
booed off the
Dom can join the New Day. Maybe he can replace Big E.
mic? Oh Lord!
Now we're
I'd
talking.
I'd
Heat.
like it. Yeah, big heat.
Big Heat. Oh my God, if they called him Big Heat,
That'd be fire.
El
That
Grande
would be
Heat,
I'd love
fire.
that.
El Grande de
Book
Heat.
it.
Yeah,
Book it.
yeah, bucket.
Oh my goodness, book it now. Somebody write that down.
Judgment Day
Dom,
bacon.
Send that
Dom
up
in
the
the
chain
heel.
of
I ain't
command.
gonna lie to you. Dom in the heel New Day is like a
Big Heat.
WCWS type of team.
Mhm.
Big Heat is
Throw Logan Paul
unbelievable.
in.
I can't believe you just did that publicly. That's all time. That's okay. Ben, clip that.
Wherever you
Big
are.
Heat. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are both high in the world title. And I get it with Liv Morgan. I get it. That's fair. Okay. But I'm done with Ripley and Morgan. She's gotten her. She got her enough. They've wrestled enough. Like, if it's gonna be Io, let it be Io. Why is it both? Why is it both?
She's not
Jordy,
got a
I'm
belt back,
starting with
bro.
you. Why is it both?
It's simple as that. She's not got a belt back. She's not going to stop until she's got a belt back. Like, I agree. Like, listen, me and Shad had a lot of fun with the Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan storyline. What feels like 12 months ago, but no, it is a little bit dragged out. I do completely get what you're saying, but in terms of why is she still going for Liv, it's because she's still got the belt. That's in my head now. That's what Rhea needs. It's like I'm pretty sure she knows. We all know that she can beat up Liv Morgan. It's not a secret. She pinned her in War Games. I think it's just a case of wanting the strap back. And I think that's all it comes down to. Now she's taken out Raquel last night in a solid sort of anything goes match. Like I really don't know how much further we can go with this. Like they can't injure Rhea again. I don't know. Could Rhea injure Liv and make her forfeit to try and drag it out? I don't know, but like it's next match. Rhea has to beat Liv and drop the title, or then it is done. Then Rhea like move on. Like
I do have maybe the question of the day for both of you guys here, though. Have we seen Rhea Ripley wrestle in a horned mask for the final time?
Yes.
Or is that going to continue to be a gimmick?
That
Please
mask
no.
is badass, though. I can't lie.
It was really
if you're
cool.
gonna do it, if you're gonna do it, that's how you should do it.
War
'cause,
Games,
like,
but like it just seems so difficult to wrestle
I
around.
don't want
until
it to
she's
become a
off.
persona. I don't want it
I mean,
to become
if
like,
the Beast Mortos can do it, why can't she do it?
I don't know.
she
He's
can.
been doing it for like
It's-
a long time. I
it's a
think.
choice. I just don't know if like I want to see like a demon persona
Beast
from
Rhea.
Rhea.
The Beast
demon in your
Rhea
sleep,
Ripley.
isn't it? That's,
Rip
Sean,
toast.
where are you going with this? I'm kidding.
The Beast Rip Toast.
The Beast
All
Rip Toast.
right.
That's
So
me at breakfast. The Beast rips toast.
I think two things can be true in this situation, right? First and foremost, has Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan's storyline gotten stale, and are we all tired of it? Yes. I believe that it's run its course, and we need to get to the finish line at some point. How we get there is going to be a very interesting and telling aspect, though. And from last night, with the face-off between Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, it had the wheels in my head spinning, because Saturday night main event, Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. I think this is a very good opportunity for us to get Io the title, but still maintain that blow-off match between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Because at the end of the day, I don't think the feud matters as much about the title than it does about everything behind the title and everything that's, what should be a blood feud at the end of the day. It's gotten very personal. Men have been stolen from other people, rightfully, in my opinion, but that's neither here or there. But it's become more of a personal feud where I don't think the title needs to center around that. So, yes, I think Io should be the one to take the title off of Liv. Let Io be the champion. Io has shown that she can be a world champion. She did it before. She's a babyface. The people love her. She's arguably one of the best wrestlers in the world, man or woman. Argue that with your grandfather on a Christmas dinner, right? But while you do that, you can get the Liv and Rhea feud out of the way, and then you can build the Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky, because the fans are definitely excited about that potential matchup. And that's also a matchup that doesn't need a definite heel versus babyface. Us as the fans just want to see two of the best women's wrestlers go at it, Clash of the Titans, rematch of what they used to do back in the black and gold days in NXT, that type of situation. So I do think Liv Morgan should lose to Io on Saturday, and so her and Rhea can then have their feud. And then from that point, with all that said too, I'm tired of people trashing Liv Morgan, though. And that's where I'm a little bit more.
I agree.
Because Liv Morgan, I think Nick Aldis said it on CVV. She plays like that heel 98, like Shawn Michaels, so well.
What Liv has become over the last 3 years is so dang impressive and so overlooked. You are so right on that, Shad and Jordy. Obviously, we're all in agreement on that. Like, Liv Morgan is underrated somehow in the peak of her career, and I don't understand that in the least. Now, you also did remind me of one more thing that I didn't mention. Big Mommy Cool in an anything goes match last night against Ripley, and we get the Riptide to the table. But I have to say something. I have to shout out whoever in WWE, whether it was Triple H or somebody backstage, got this absolutely positively correct. In an anything goes match and not a no holds barred match, there hasn't been a hold barred in like 40 years. Stop calling it that. And they called it an anything goes match, and it fired me up. It made my day.
And that's the thing too, with all this saying that, Raquel is comparable to, like, she's the Diesel to HBK, right? So they're you've established them as a duo. Now you can, after this is done, that's probably the biggest threat for them tag titles at that point. Like, if anyone's going to get the tag titles off of Jade and Bianca, it is Liv and Raquel Rodriguez. And they're doing a great job with Raquel Rodriguez once she's returned back from the injury. I know a lot of people say that, she, they got some hiccups with her, but I think Raquel serves her role very well. She's a very talented heavy. And I mean, I think her and Liv could be a very fun tag team.
Raquel is as strong as anybody in the women's division.
I think genuinely, like what we're kind of talking about and around here, and I think it shows our age, right? This, because obviously, like I'm 30, so like we were all grew up in the
30s,
90s.
guys.
We all saw the Attitude Era, and so this Liv Morgan style of champion and having a heavy, it's great to see that kind of style again, because I feel like people have almost become so accustomed to a Roman Reigns heel champ run, a Gunther
Yeah.
heel champ run, where it's like, I am just this absolute machine who will destroy you.
I'm
And
the
it's
final
like,
boss of the video game.
yeah, exactly. And
As
it's like, nah,
opposed
that's
to,
not like a
I'm the
Miz. I
smartest
love
one
the
in the
Miz,
room.
like sneaky, you know, like
Yeah.
not JBL was different because JBL, like, he could go and he had that big clothesline, but like a proper heel where it's like,
But
yeah,
it's
they
like,
do stuff that annoys you. They
It's
cheat.
kind of
Like,
she's
it's
got
kinda
like
like Alexa Bliss
I'm
when
the
she was the
smartest person in the room
champion
vibe.
with Nia.
yeah, it's like yeah, it's something to me that it's like something from a time gone by, and I've loved this run and seeing it. And I feel like I can tell that like Triple H is obviously pulling the strings a bit now because it reminds me of his era. It's that type of heel. And I love it personally. So when I completely agree with you, Shad, like I say a lot of things and I always back Rhea, that like it's all jokes. Like I've got a lot of time for Liv Morgan as a champion and a wrestler.
She's to that point. Obviously, before we close off, because I know we're going against the clock.
You're good.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where she, as a character, has just hit a home run. She does everything to her benefit. She knows her strong suits. She knows that she's a beautiful woman. She knows that she's got the sense of charm and charisma. She knows that she can hit us with a little bit of the Joker laugh, like little things like that throughout all of the campaign, and just buying into the storyline and buying into the character. I think you're right, Clark. From what we saw a few years ago to what we are now, this may be the biggest leap of a woman's character I didn't see in the last 5 years in the
100%.
WWE.
Her and Dom are brilliant as well. Their chemistry.
Yes.
It's a completely different dynamic to what he had with Rhea, which was also great.
Which weirdly makes it more fun. It freshened up the storyline.
Yeah,
Jordy.
very much so.
Because
people hate Dom again.
More of a heel because Rhea's teetering that babyface heel aspect of it, right?
Yeah,
Liv just sinks her teeth as being the heel, and she's perfectly fine with it. And I think that's, like you said, man, the guy who books the stuff, he knows stuff like that, man.
Yeah.
Triple H knows that era and essence of it. And Liv is around our age too, so she grew up watching all that, and she's probably like, oh yeah, I could do this.
Absolutely.
I was watching this as a kid.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Honestly, play the middle, walk the line beautifully. Like, it's so good.
We could chat about this the rest of the day. Don't get me wrong. We will be back later tonight for Off the Air immediately following NXT. Just tune in. We're in the same spot. Wherever you're watching, you'll be able to find us in the exact same spot right after NXT is finished for Off the Air. That's going to be me, Shad, and Drizzy. But on behalf of me, Jordy in the bank, Shoddy, thank you so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe if you already hadn't. Look at Rosario has our back on this one.
My boy.
Don't forget to like
What's
and
good,
subscribe.
dog?
Monster shout out. Good to have you. And then Megan's even in the comments with the smiley face. What's going on, Megan? All love. Absolutely. Everybody have an excellent Tuesday. We'll hopefully see you later tonight. If we don't, we'll see you tomorrow at the same time, same place for the daily. That's noon Pacific. That's, of course, 3 over on the East Coast. That's 8 o'clock in the UK and 9 a.m. for my friends in Hawaii. Talk to everybody soon.